As the sports world turns, the Knicks and the Rangers, they are a step closer to the conference finals. And welcome back to the New York Sports Rapid Rundown, where we talk about the hottest three topics in these Big Apple sports streets. Joining me this week is a sports journalist for the New York Beacon, Shara Taylor. Shara, how you doing?
Doing great, Dexter. Thank you for inviting me on today.
Well, I'm glad to have you here because you and I, we've known each other for quite some time, going back a little bit, over 10 years. Not going to date ourselves here, but it's going back for a while.
Back to 2012.
You gave people the exact date.
Yes.
That's how long it's been. But we have also seen each other a lot recently because we've been out at these games, covering these playoff games around the Knicks. Yeah. And before we get into things, I want to ask you, because you've been there and people have been asking me so much about this, what's it been like being at these Knicks games and feeling that energy at Madison Square Garden?
Oh, it's so exciting at Madison Square Garden during the playoffs. Everyone is just so emotional about it. They even get angry when the team gets angry. Like when they lost a game, I saw fans kicking things across the floor. They get very emotional, but it's intense and it's fun seeing so many different fans from New Jersey, New York, even celebrities around the court, Spike Lee courtside. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, the energy's been great. It's been fun. It's been keeping it a lot of late nights for us covering these games, but it's been really fun. So it's been lots of just energy to be around, and good energy. You want to be around that good energy with the Knicks, so that's always good. Now, Shara, we've got some things to talk about this week, including women's basketball, with the Liberty wrapping up their preseason schedule this week, and then they're tipping off the WNBA season next week. We also got to talk about the Yankees offense that's starting to come alive, which is exciting for Yankees fans. But first, we're going to start on the hardwood. We talked about the Knicks. We're going to talk about what a week that it's been for the New York Knicks with their second-round series with the Indiana Pacers. The Knicks, they went up 2-0, but then they suffered a heartbreaking loss Friday night in Game 3. Now they've got a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 is going to be in Naptown on Sunday. We know this. Injuries have been rough for the Knicks. Shara, they're going to be without OG Anunoby again. Did you like what you saw from the Knickerbockers in Game 3, and do you think they can head back home if they win Game 4 and be up 3-1?
Okay, even though they lost, I can say that they didn't lose by too much. It's not like they were blown out. So they had a lot of injuries, so they were without a lot of players, but they were still doing well, still have the defense. So I do think that they could go up 3-1 by the end of this game.
So you do think they can go up 3-1? I thought it was encouraging, right, that they kept it close even without OG Anunoby, and you would think that would give them confidence going in. So even though they lost, it felt like a victory in that. Do you feel like they'll take that confidence going into Game 4?
That's right. Chris Hayne reported that OG Anunoby, that he pulled his thigh hamstring muscle, excuse me, and that Jalen Brunson had a foot injury. So first, Brunson left. They were still playing hard, doing well, relying on DiVincenzo for the threes. So they were still doing well.
Yeah, it didn't look like the offense wasn't out of sync for them, right? They still were able to put up points, and I think that was a concern, as you just mentioned, with those two injuries that a lot of people had heading into that game. Right now, you mentioned these injuries.
Yeah.
They've been mounting up for the Knicks. You talked about OG Anunoby's hamstring, right? The Knicks are already without Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, Bojan Bogdanovic, all done for the playoffs. What do you think the ceiling is for this Knicks team in this postseason? And, you know, there's a lot of expectations when you look at, you talked about the energy, the crazy energy at the Garden. So expectations are going up. But do you look at the Knicks like they're playing with house money at this point, that whatever they do at this point, it's all gravy and it's kind of all good? Do you look at it that way?
I don't think there is a ceiling. I think that they could move on to the next round. I think they really need to go back to what they did to win against the Philadelphia 76ers. So when Maxey stepped up and was scoring, getting threes, and had a turnaround performance, they stopped him. And they need to do that with Halliburton. Like, Halliburton is now Maxey. How are we going to stop him?
And that was key for them in that Sixers series, right? Just getting that defensive pressure. You said, look, no ceiling for them at this point. I think a lot of people would like to see them win the series against the Pacers. The next round, they could face the Celtics. We know how good the Celtics are. Do you think the Knicks, even as banged up as they are, do you think they got a shot against the Celtics?
Yes, I think the Celtics are also banged up. Porzingis, I think he's still battling injuries. I think that if still being able to get past the 76ers is a good sign. There's no 7-footers on Indiana. So I think you can get in the paint, score a lot of shots, and do well.
Yeah, I think they can do that. I think the Knicks' confidence, Shara, is rising as they go throughout this postseason. I think it's something that bodes really well for them. I'm really excited to see how they can do. You're saying no ceiling, sky's the limit. That's what Knicks fans want to hear. You know they're excited about that. The Knicks' energy is at an all-time high in the Big Apple, and we will see what they can do in Game 4 and if they can come back to New York for Game 5, up 3-1. All right, let's talk about the New York Yankees. They bounced back after his series loss last week in Baltimore. They've won now 6 out of their last 7 games at the time we record this. They took 2 out of 3 from Houston earlier this week. The team's just a half game behind the Orioles in the American League East. What do you like about how this Yankees team is playing right now, and how good do you think they could be this season?
I think they can have a very good season. I see that they're improving. That's straight. The winning streak right after the last loss was Thursday. So before that, they were on a winning streak. Aaron Judge, he's playing much better, getting the home runs. 2-3 weeks ago, he was struggling. He said that it's about him reading the pitches. When I heard an interview that he did, he said it's about reading the pitches. And I think that he's getting back into the swing of things.
Well, listen, Yankee fans been waiting for that because he had a rough April. They want him to get back into the swing of things, as you just mentioned there, Shara, because after a slow start, you kind of mentioned this, he's now hit 3 home runs in his last 5 games. That's the Aaron Judge we're used to seeing. He's now tied for the team lead in home runs, 9 with Juan Soto. Marcus Stroman said this on Thursday, could you just reference the interview, that a 473-foot homer that he hit on Houston, he said Judge is special, and he's not even hot yet, which is scary, considering he hit 3 home runs in his last 5 games. Do you think we're getting close to seeing the captain hit the way we expect to see him hit and see him produce? Do you think we're getting to that point where we can say, okay, he's red hot here?
Yes, I do. I think he's just warming up. In that interview with Yes, he said that it's a long season. So I know he's just warming up to get started. Back in 2022, what was it, 62 home runs?
Yep, 62 home run season, yep.
Last year, even with an injury to his toe, 37 home runs, is that right? So I think already right now he's just getting started.
Yeah, just getting started is so early, but you know how the New York fans are. You know how the Yankee fans can be. They want to see that production now, and he's doing that. Do you think this team is World Series caliber, or is it going to take you a little bit more time before you get to that place where you say the Yankees are a World Series contending team?
No, I think there's always a possibility.
It's early, but there's always a possibility there.
Yes, and they've been making it to the playoffs. I think definitely the playoffs, and they always seem to struggle right against Boston. So just getting beyond that hump.
Yeah, Boston's had their number. The Astros have had their number, although the Astros don't look strong this year at all whatsoever, which makes the Yankee fans feel good. But you're right. I understand for the Yankee fan and what you're saying, which is let's kind of wait and see till they get to the postseason and see what happens there. The Yankees right now starting to play better baseball. We'll see if they can continue that with the good play that we're seeing from Aaron Judge. Now we talk women's hoops. The New York Liberty, they wrapped up their preseason, Shara, on a high note on Thursday with an 82-79 win over the Connecticut Sun. Now, Liberty only played 2 preseason games, and in the first preseason game, they got blown out by the Chicago Sky. It was an embarrassing loss. Shara, what do you make of what we saw from the Liberty in the preseason, and how much stock do you put into either of these 2 performances by the 2023 WNBA finalists?
It's just preseason. It's just getting started. They're learning how to gel together. I'm sure they weren't anticipating that first loss, that bad 50-point difference. It was about 50 points. It was pretty big. In fact, they didn't score until like the very end of the first quarter. So they had 2. They had a rookie, Angel Reese, they were playing against. I think she had about 13 points in the game. So just maybe shaking off some nerves, but they certainly turned it around against the Connecticut Sun.
I think that's what people were a little shocked about because this is a veteran team, right? But I still think people don't think enough, to your point. I know you said nerves, and people say, okay, well, the Liberty are a veteran team, but they're coming back. Everybody's coming back from their off season, what they've been doing. And it's going to take some time for them to get together and build that chemistry. Whenever I talk to Christina Williams, my good friend that covers the WNBA and the Liberty, she always says, chemistry was a big thing with the Liberty last year. They had so many new players. They finally got it together by the end of the season, but now you got to sort of rebuild that. So there's always going to be some nerves there. So I don't think that's crazy to think. But because this team made it to the finals last year, right, the expectations for them this year is going to be sky high for sure. What do you expect this team to show this season? And do you think the Liberty can finally get over the hump and win the first title in franchise history?
Yes, I do. I think that, again, last season it took them a little, like you said, it took them a little while to gel together, but they still did, made it happen. And so game one, preseason game, so you had your 5 starters, Breanna Stewart, Courtney Vandersloot, Sabrina Ionescu.
Jocko Jones we had as well, too.
Benijah Laney. They were playing, 17 to 20 minutes for the game, and they did about the same in the next game, but it was a different team, it looked like, against the Connecticut Sun. I think they're going to play strong together and get it going earlier this year. Breanna Stewart, it was her first year with the team last year, so they already know how it feels to play with her, so they're already a step ahead. So I think they're going to have a head start. They're going to do well. It'll be interesting to see when they take on Indiana with Caitlin, to see how they do.
Yeah.
And also when they go to face Chicago again, and Carmelo Cardoza is playing.
Yeah, there's some such exciting young players in the league right now. But I think you make a really good point, right? You talked about the slow start. It was a slow start, if I want to say that, for the Liberty last year. I think the Liberty fans know this. But it took them some time to get it together. You think they'll get out to a quicker start out the gate this year because of the chemistry that they built last year. What's an interesting note for the people watching is they open up the season against the Mystics. Then they have back-to-back games against the matchup that you anticipate against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever at Indiana, then the home opener Sunday the 19th at the Barclays Center against Caitlin Clark. You know it's going to be crazy in there, Shara. You know it's going to be buzzing.
I'm expecting a sellout.
I'm expecting that too. Hopefully I see you in the building, and hopefully the energy is, a little bit, at least close to what it's like at these Knicks games. We hope that it's like that. Everybody, that is Shara Taylor. Check out her work with the New York Beacon. She does a fantastic job covering sports for them. Shara, I'm hoping I see you at some more Knicks games, some Liberty games where the energy is good. Nobody's kicking things or mad at you. We don't want that to. We can't have that happen. We don't want that to happen.
Yes, we don't.
Don't want that to happen. Thanks for joining me on the New York Sports Rapid Rundown. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. We'll be with you guys next week. Another episode of the New York Sports Rapid Rundown as we continue and the sports just gets busier and busier here in New York.